Team builders are some of the best cards in NHL 24's Hockey Ultimate Team, and in this video, I'm going to break down every single team builder at launch of the game, provide you a tier list so you know which ones will give you the best advantage for your squad, as well as rank the 87 overall launch team builders. Now, there are some pretty big changes to team builders in NHL 24 that we need to address. The first is that it only requires 6 84 overalls to create one of the 87 team builders. Secondly, it doesn't matter which 84 overall team builders you use in a set, you can use 6 of the same one, which is massive because that means that no team is going to be price locked. And the last thing before we get into the tier list for these 84 overall team builders as well as the 87s is that, guys, please take your favorite player over all of this. This list is simply my opinion on the cards that will give you the best value and benefits to your team when you play online or squad battles. But I beg, please use your favorite players. That being said, let's rank the cards. All right, let's get to the rankings. We're going to start in the C tier, and I do want to mention all of these cards are actually pretty usable. So when I say C tier, it doesn't mean that they're absolutely god-awful, just simply that there are better options and you will probably replace them quite quickly. Let's kick things off with the San Jose Sharks representative, Dan Boyle, a right-handed defenseman, 5'11", 190 with offensive defenseman and accelerator boost. He's got 88 speed, 89 acceleration with the synergies activated, as well as a decent shot. I do want to mention that at launch of the game, it's usually very difficult to find a defenseman that has good skating, good shooting, and good size, so you're really looking for 2 of the 3. The issue here with Dan Boyle is simply he's only got 84 defensive awareness. Defensive awareness, for anyone that doesn't know, is the stat that dictates how good they are at intercepting passes. At launch of the game, because so many defensemen have low defensive awareness, you're going to see passes get through quite easily. Seeing Eye is a very fun ability, especially if you go for a lot of tip shots from the point, but not many people do. And Stick 'em Up does have its effectiveness as well. With the nerf to poachecks, it can help out, but Stick 'em Up is a lot worse on defensemen that are under 6'3", let's say, simply because they have much less of a reach, which is why Dan Boyle is in the C tier. Next, we've got Colin Miller from the Vegas Golden Knights. He's got two-way defenseman as well as agile dangler boost. However, he's got Send It, which is legitimately the most useless ability, or one of them in the game, as well as Gold Heat Seeker. Heat Seeker is probably the least useful offensive ability for a defenseman. He's got 87 speed, 87 acceleration, and 88 agility, which is okay, but nothing great. He's got mid-80s shooting, but only 82 body checking and 87 defensive awareness. This is probably the worst card out of all of them. Next up from the Buffalo Sabres, we've got Derek Roy, 5'9", 184 with the playmaking forward and checking boost synergies, 90 speed, 90 acceleration, and 90 agility. There are not a lot of cards that have skating above 90 at launch. 83 body checking, even with the +4 from the checking boost, and the fact he's 5'9" and 184, very tough to use him defensively. The issue here with Derek Roy is that he has 2 abilities that you really will not gain any benefit from in HUT. Tape to Tape and Third Eye lost a lot of their usefulness in NHL 23 when they brought back pass assist. So for that reason, he's in the C tier. From the Detroit Red Wings, we've got the 5'10", 190 left-handed forward Slava Kozlov with the two-way forward and checking boost synergies, 89 speed, 89 acceleration, gets the +1 boost to agility. But just like Derek Roy, a low body checking stat. However, the nice advantage to Slava Kozlov is the fact he gets silver elite edges. Early on in the game, elite edges is one of the best abilities because agility ratings are quite low. It will throw that stat through the roof, allowing you to make cuts and keep your top-end speed when coming out from those corners, which takes advantage of anyone that's using a big defenseman or big players because they don't have the speed to keep up just yet. But again, tape to tape, just not worth it. From the Dallas Stars, we've got Yuri Lettinen, two-way forward and accelerator boost. Again, probably one of the most useless superstar and zone ability combos in Third Eye and Yoink. 88 speed, 89 acceleration. He's got 79 on his slap shot accuracy. Hand stats are all in the low to mid 80s. And he's a pure right-handed winger. You wouldn't be able to play him at center. This is one of the worst options competitively. Joe Mullen from the Pittsburgh Penguins is up next. 5'9", 180 right-handed forward. He's got sniper forward as well as checking boost for his synergies. Third Eye, like I mentioned, not really useful. Wheel Wheels is, however, you want to use it on forwards that have really high-end speed. Wheels, in my opinion, on forwards or players that don't have speed above 90, especially at launch, you're just not going to see the same level of usefulness out of it. 89 speed, acceleration, and agility isn't terrible. He does have a nice shot and an okay body checking stat at 85 overall. However, he is 5'9", 180 without any ability like Unstoppable Force to hold on to the puck. A pure right-handed winger, he's in the C tier. From the Edmonton Oilers, we've got Ethan Moreau. I actually love this selection. He is a perfect representation of what I think a team builder is. However, he's got grinding forward and agile dangler boost, 86 speed, acceleration, and agility. Obviously on the lower end because he is 6'3", 223. This is a great grinder card if you are specifically going to use him on the lower lines. However, I just think his abilities aren't really going to have that much of an impact on in-game. Born Leader you want to have on a card that plays on your first or maybe at most second line. A pure right-handed winger, but has a good body checking stat as well. There is definitely a place for Ethan Moreau. I think he's probably in a tier up if you are someone that plays in the higher divisions where having bigger players because of the puck possession is so much more important. And lastly, in the C tier, we've got Al MacInnis from the Calgary Flames, a two-way defenseman. He's got playmaking boost as well as a two-way defenseman. Again, not a terrible card by any stretch of the imagination. Only 84 body checking. He is 6'1", 204, which is okay size. 86 speed and acceleration. Won't hurt you at launch, but it will quite quickly afterwards. Gold Thunderclap, in my opinion, I've never seen it actually beat a goaltender clean. Silver 1T does have its usefulness if you are someone that likes to take point shots, however. I just think that you are going to find far better defenseman cards quite quickly. All right, let's kick off the B tier with the Carolina Hurricanes' Martin Gelina. 5'11", 202. He's got the two-way forward and defensive boost. The reason why I think he lands in the B tier is simply because if you can get defensive boost as well as two-way forward activated, he actually gets a +7 on faceoffs, which brings it up to 87, which is quite high at launch of the game, meaning that he's got lineup versatility. You can play him at center or you can play him on the wing. 88 speed, 89 acceleration, and +3 agility brings him up to 90. Again, nothing special. I just think that the lineup flexibility kind of makes him a little bit more useful than the cards that were in the C tier. From the New York Islanders, we've got Butch Goring, 5'9", a left-handed centerman. He's got two-way forward and playmaking boost, 90 speed, 90 acceleration, and 91 agility, which again is pretty rare early on at the launch of NHL 24 with speed and skating being reduced to help with progression. He's a good face-off stat at 86 overall. Body checking and defensively, obviously, he's not going to be as effective, and make it snappy isn't really going to help out all that much either. However, goal close quarters is one of the best offensive abilities that you can have. Combine that with his 90 speed and acceleration and agility, and you've got a pretty good card here. From the Arizona Coyotes, we've got Shane Doan, 6'1", 223. He's got good size, 87 speed, acceleration, and agility with that agile dangler boost, 86 body checking to go with the fact he's 6'1", 223. The big benefit here is, again, gold close quarters. It is one of the most impactful offensive abilities that you can get in the game. Silver Born Leader, not going to be crazy impactful, might help with the full pressure system. Anytime that you can get your line to have full energy is obviously going to be a bonus. But because of all that, he's in the B tier. Bryan McCabe from the Florida Panthers. I gotta say, they always make Bryan McCabe like a Florida Panther alum. When I think Bryan McCabe, it is Toronto Maple Leafs. But again, that might be because I'm from here. He's got offensive defenseman as well as agile dangler boost. 86 speed and acceleration is not that great. 6'2", 223, however, with silver truculence is. Truculence is hands down the best defensive and maybe the best overall ability in the game. It allows you to throw pretty much anyone off the puck, especially at launch of the game, when a lot of the smaller players, they don't have any great abilities, and they'll get just tossed around. Throw in the fact he's got gold 1T. Again, I mentioned this before. 1T can have its usefulness if you are someone that likes to take a lot of point shots. I think with how the full pressure system works in NHL 24 now, that just skating around has been significantly nerfed to get it full. Taking shots bumps a big chunk of it out each time. I've found 1T to be somewhat effective, so I just really like his ability combo. His skating is going to be tough to deal with in a couple weeks. The Nashville Predators, Steve Sullivan, 5'8", 165, playmaking forward as well as agile dangler boost. Tape to tape, again, not going to be that effective. However, Wheels is on someone 90 and above. That's where the minimum I would cut it off with. I still would rather save it for someone that's got the high-end skating, someone like McCarr or McDavid, those types that have, mid-90s. But a very, very good skater. It's the 95 agility. He is very small, but if you think back to the launch of NHL 23, that Master Set Johnny Gaudreau card that had Gold Elite edges which effectively just jacks up their agility rating, makes them very impactful early on. He's got really good hand stats as well. This could be a fun offensive card if you've got other forwards on the line that can help out defensively. From the New Jersey Devils, we've got BRYAN GIONTA, again, another smaller forward, 5'7", 178, the right-handed winger. He's got checking boost as well as sniper forward. However, he benefits from having silver unstoppable force, which is very impactful at launch of the game. 92 speed, 90 acceleration, 91 agility, a good shot in the mid to high 80s. Same with his hand stats. Born Leader, again, I touched on, has its usefulness at the beginning of the game, but will start to lose its effectiveness. It's really unstoppable force that's driving this card, though. All right, moving on to the A tier. We've got the Tampa Bay Lightning's Martin St. Louis with playmaking forward as well as defensive boost, 90 speed, 90 acceleration, 94 agility with those synergies activated, silver elite edges. Again, I just think that combo at launch of the game is very, very impactful. It's just very difficult, especially if you get full pressure activated, for your team to catch up to a player that has that kind of shiftiness early on in the HUT cycle. Claude Lemieux is up next, 6'1", 215, grinding forward as well as checking boost. He's got gold crease crasher and silver truculence as a forward, less impactful as a defenseman, but still at launch of the game will do a lot of damage. 88 speed, 88 acceleration, 85 agility, 91 balance with those synergies activated though. He's going to be hard to knock off the puck, especially with that size. You see the 94 body checking. This would be a great card to pair with Steve Sullivan. It would actually be a really nice tandem. Marty McSorley checks in next from the LA Kings. Enforcer defenseman as well as shooting boost. And you see it right there. Gold truculence. There is not a lot of players that are going to get gold truculence at launch of the game. 6'2", 235 with gold truculence immediately makes him one of the best defensemen in his own zone. When you add in the fact that Enforcer defenseman gets +2 to speed, if you can get it activated, he gets up to 88 speed. Now, his defensive awareness is down to 83, so intercepting passes is going to be a little dicey. But the max body checking and gold truculence means that if you get even close to a puck carrier, you're throwing him off the puck. Jordan Eberle from the Seattle Kraken, 5'11", 190, sniper forward and checking boost, 89 speed, 89 acceleration, 88 agility, and a good high 80s shot as well. Silver close quarters, which is one of the better abilities. Puck on a string, in my opinion, just doesn't have a lot of usefulness in HUT, but because of silver close quarters, his good shot and decent skating in comparison to some of the other smaller forwards that touch 90, I just think he's a really good all-around right-handed winger card. The meme, Jack Johnson, the Columbus Blue Jackets representative, 6'1", 227, defensive defenseman and shooting boost. He's got silver quick pick, which again, I think is very impactful at launch of the game with a lot of players that have low defensive awareness. However, Jack Johnson has 91 if you can get the synergies activated and stick him up. I mentioned with Dan Boyle that stick him up isn't as impactful with smaller defense. 6'1" is right on that line where it starts to be pretty overpowered. You think back to last year, Victor Hedman, for example, had stick him up, and because he's 6'6", he was able to just poke anything on the entire side of the ice. 90 body checking means that he's very good in his own zone. This is a great left-handed defenseman. Dale HAWERCHUK from the Winnipeg Jets checks in, sniper forward and agile dangler boost, 88 speed, 89 acceleration. That agility gets up to 87 with synergies. Silver unstoppable force, gold-born leader. Obviously, silver unstoppable force is the impactful ability here. High 80s hand stats, high 80s shooting stats, and to 81 on the draw, kind of the bare minimum I would like as a centerman, but at launch of the game, that's still quite useful if you want to use him at center. Mike Green from the Washington Capitals is up next, 6'1", 210, good size, offensive defenseman and checking boost, 87 speed, 88 acceleration, 88 agility, and a great shot. Again, like I mentioned with Dan Boyle, finding a defenseman that has good skating, shooting, and size at launch of the game is very difficult, so if you can find someone that has at least 2 of the 3, you're in business. 87 speed is still on the decent end at launch of the game, and a high 80s with 90 on the shot power at 6'1", 210 is quite good. Again, if you've watched my channel over the last year in NHL 23, I love setting up and going for planned tip shots. Seeing Eye and Heat Seeker, while I don't think are super impactful, they definitely help out with that aspect, which makes them one of the more fun cards. The Vancouver Canucks get their left-handed defenseman, Lume, 6'1", 210 with offensive defenseman and accelerator boost, 89 acceleration, 86 speed. I do want to touch on something. I actually find acceleration to be a little bit more more useful on defensemen than speed. It's all going to depend on your gameplay style, though. I use the points a lot. I take a lot of shots for tips as well as one-timers, and sometimes those get blocked or you'll lose the puck at the blue line. Acceleration, having that to be higher allows you to get back a little bit quicker, but obviously 86 is pretty rough when you're just skating stride for stride. 86 body checking. Silver shutdown is one of the better abilities, though, in the game, and like I mentioned earlier, seeing eye is pretty fun. He's got 87 defensive awareness, which is really good at launch of the game. I think just an okay, well-rounded left-handed defenseman. Wendell Clark is the Toronto Maple Leafs team builder, 5'11", 198. He's got power forward, an agile dangler boost. Silverborn leader, gold truculence, 89 speed, 89 acceleration, 88 agility, a mid-80s shot, 88 body checking, just a good defensive forward, and gold truculence again is just super impactful. One of the biggest abilities that you'll notice when playing the game. Gary Dornhofer from the Philadelphia Flyers is up next. 6'1", 190, a right-handed winger. Two-way forward, speed boost, 89 speed, 87 acceleration. Again, it's gold truculence, which is driving this ranking, 89 body checking. It's really going to depend on your team makeup, but I like to throw a lot of rebounds as well. Crease Crasher might have a little bit more value early on. From the St. Louis Blues, Barrett Jackman, 6', 203, silver truculence, gold bouncer. Bouncer isn't bad. There's just, I find, far better defensive abilities. 87 speed, 87 acceleration. His agility is brutal. This is purely for defensive purposes, and he's got great defensive stats. So I'd love to have the 84 Barrett Jackman on the squad. Mike Fisher from the Ottawa Senators, 6'1", 216, two-way forward, shooting boost, gold quick draw. One of the best abilities, again, in my opinion, to have on at least one of your players or one of your centermen. It is an animation type ability, meaning that it doesn't just jack up a stat. It is something that actually gives you a better animation. At 99 with gold quick draw, you'll beat almost any single tiebreaker on another player that has 99 faceoffs without quick draw. And again, not a lot of centermen at launch of the game have a decent faceoff rating. His can get up to 88. If you need a centerman, this is a great option. 87 speed, 87 acceleration, and a decent shot as well. Just a very well-rounded card. Saku Koivu's also in the A tier, 5'10", 181. Two-way forward, agile dangler boost. He's got born leader and quick draw, like I just mentioned. 89 speed, 89 acceleration, 91 agility. Koivu's card is one of the better forward cards in this team builder selection. Also have MARIAN HOSSA, 6'1", 207, two-way forward and accelerator boost. 87 speed, 89 acceleration with that synergy activated. Gold elite edges. Again, one of the better abilities at the start of the game. His shot is a little bit lower than I would like. Wrist shot at 85, but slap shot at 82 and 81. Body checking down at 82, so he's not going to help you defensively, and he is a pure winger. However, good size and gold elite edges makes him an impactful card. Todd Marchand from the Anaheim Ducks. He's got grinding forward, shooting boost, 89 speed, 89 acceleration, 88 agility, mid to high 80s in the shooting department, 80 faceoffs, so you can play him at center. Silver close quarters, which is great, and no contest again, which is okay. I'd much rather have Saku Koivu, but I do think he is one of the better forward options. Willie O'Ree for the Boston Bruins, 5'10", 175, a two-way forward playmaking boost, and he has god-tier abilities. Gold unstoppable force and silver close quarters makes him play a lot bigger than he's actually listed, because it is going to be very difficult to knock him off the puck. 88 speed, 89 acceleration. His agility can touch 89. He's got 87 shooting across the board, essentially. This is a sneaky good early on left-handed winger card for you. All right, on to the S tier. We're going to start with the Minnesota Wild's Nick Schultz, left-handed defenseman, 6'1", 203. Lastly, in the A tier, we've got Nick Schultz from the Minnesota Wild, defensive defenseman, as well as playmaking boost. He's got a great superstar and zone ability combo in Stick 'em Up and Shutdown. However, it's a bit of an overkill because Shutdown kind of does what Stick 'em Up does on the rush, and Shutdown says it only activates off the rush, but it honestly activates pretty much everywhere. 87 speed, 87 acceleration is kind of on that borderline of what you want. He does have 90 body checking and 91 defensive awareness, so you can't go wrong if you need a left-handed defenseman. And in the S tier, our lone representative, Dan Girardi, in my opinion, is the best selection of all of the 84 overall team builders for a couple reasons. Again, it is much easier to find a forward than it is defenseman at launch of the game. He's got defensive defenseman and agile dangler boost as his synergies. 87 speed, 87 acceleration, again, kind of mediocre. like I'd mentioned throughout the video. Silver Truculence and Gold Shutdown is a fantastic ability combo. The reason why he's rated higher than Marty McSorley, for example, because McSorley has 88 speed, is simply because he can get his defensive awareness up to 92. McSorley's is down at 83. Again, when you have defensive awareness that's that low, they are very poor at intercepting passes. So I just think that Dan Girardi has the longest staying power in your lineup. So if you are selecting from the pre-order pack, he would be one of the two options for me. All right, now it's time to talk about the 87 overall team builder cards. And again, for anyone that is new to Hockey Ultimate Team, it will require 6 of these 84 overall cards to get one of these 87. These are, in my opinion, what you should be working towards to collect, especially if you're free to play, because they are such powerful cards. And as the year goes along, you can trade in 2 for the next highest rated one. Now, just like the 84s, these 87s are all great cards. So just because I have one ranked lower doesn't mean that it's a bad card. It's just my recommendation in terms of the value of that card compared to the others is all. We're going to start in the B tier with the Dallas Stars Sergei ZUBOV. I do need to mention, this is probably the most fun card out of all 8 of these, simply because of his ability combo with 1T, Seeing Eye, and Elite Edges. However, the reason why I have him ranked in the B tier is he's 6'1", 198, so he doesn't have elite size. He does have a good skating rating at 90 speed, 90 acceleration, but it isn't something that's extraordinary, and his body checking is down at 84. He's a great offensive defenseman, but even then, that's due to his abilities. His shot is in the mid-80s. For sure, one of the best defensemen at launch of the game. I just think he gets replaced quite quick. Also, in the B tier, the Chicago Blackhawks, Jeremy Roenick. He's got shooting boost as well as two-way forward. 6'1", 205, a right-handed forward. Does get up to 86 on the faceoffs, so you can play him at center. He does have back at ya. However, I found back at ya to be, I don't want to say pointless, but because of how impactful reverse hitting is in this game, almost everyone has back at ya. Big Rig, they really nerfed this with the fact that protecting the puck is no longer by just hitting X or A. He does have silver close quarters, though. 90 speed, 90 acceleration, up to 89 agility. Again, nothing crazy. Does have 91 body checking. I just like to see a little bit more. He would be the lowest rated forward among the group. Into the A tier, we're going to start with the New York Rangers, Brian Leetch, 6'1", 190 with two-way defenseman and speed boost. You're definitely going to get more usefulness out of him than Sergei ZUBOV, simply because he has gold stick him up. He's also a little bit faster, has basically the same shot, and almost maxed out defensive awareness. So he is going to be among the best cards in the game at actually intercepting passes, which obviously is always going to be an extremely important stat throughout the game. The low body checking stat is a little rough at 82, but with stick 'em up, you're going to be trying to poke the puck free more than you're trying to level somebody. Another left-handed defenseman, we've got Kevin Lowe, 6'2", 200 from the Edmonton Oilers. Two-way defenseman as well as playmaking boost for the Synergies. 88 speed, 88 acceleration, which is the lowest among the team builder group. However, he does have Gold Shutdown, which is one of the better defensive abilities in the game. Thunderclap and Ice Pack really wouldn't bother activating unless you had the room to. He's got almost maxed out defensive awareness, just like Brian Leetch. It's all going to depend who you're pairing on the right-hand side. If you were to choose between Kevin Lowe and Brian Leetch, one is obviously much more offensive, one's a little bit more defensive. I personally like Leetch a little bit more, but they're both in the A tier. From the Boston Bruins, we've got Bill Guerin, 6'2", 220, a right-handed winger with power forward and speed boost. 90 speed, 90 acceleration. His agility is only 85, but he's got silver close quarters, born leader, and gold truculence. This is essentially a right-handed version of Todd Bertuzzi from NHL 23. He is going to be a handful to deal with for anyone that gets this card early on in the game. If you pair him with someone that's extremely fast on the left-hand side, you're laughing. Now on to the S tier. These are the best in my opinion. We'll start first with the Montreal Canadiens, Patrice Brisebois, 6'2", 196, two-way defenseman, and accelerator boost, 89 speed, 91 acceleration, gold truculence, and then has the two fun abilities, again, for a player that likes to go for tip shots and point shots, Seeing Eye as well as Heat Seeker, 93 defensive awareness, so he's going to be quite impactful at intercepting passes, good body checking stat, just an all-around very fun defenseman to have at launch of the game. And then the perfect winger partner for Bill Guerin, the 87 Luc Robitaille, 6'1", 215. He's got defensive boost and sniper forward, and one of the best superstar combos in the game, unstoppable force and gold close quarters. 93 speed, 93 acceleration, 92 agility. His shot touches 90. His hand stats are all above 90. Even defensively, he's quite good as well, with 90 defensive awareness and 92 stick checking. Obviously, body checking is going to be an issue, but if you paired him with Bill Guerin, that is a brutal line to have to try and defend. This is essentially a better version of Connor McDavid's base card. And then lastly, because EA cannot have team builders without a New Jersey Devil, we've got Joe Nieuwendyk. And in my opinion, he is number one. 6'2", 205, great size. Two-way forward and agile dangler boost. 91 speed, 90 acceleration, 91 agility. His shot is at 90, his hand stats in the low 90s. It's the fact that he's got gold quick draw, 95 faceoffs, and good defensive stats as well. You just simply won't lose a faceoff if you understand the counters correctly, something that I'm actually quite good at. It's such an advantage to start every possession with the puck, which is why he would probably be my first selection. But no matter what, he's just a very, very good card. That was a ton of info, but I really hope that helped make some decisions or cleared up any information that you were looking for. Let me know in the comments section who you are going to go with. And if you haven't already, subscribe for the most up-to-date news, tips, and info. I'm live every single day on Twitch, twitch.tv/nosleeps12. I hope to see you there.